Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here, and this is Arcane Rush, an incredibly cozy and fun auto-battler game that just had a major update at the start of September, so there's some really nice new stuff to explore in this game. This video is sponsored by Arcane Rush, so if you try out the game, download it through either the QR code or the link down below in the description to show them that you came from this video. And man, it has been a blast playing this game again. I always feel so relaxed when I'm playing Arcane Rush. I mean, the music is relaxing, the characters are endearing. I always have a great time. The new season in the game is Orc Conquest, so there is a new dealer who is Thunk, such a lovable character as well. And with Thunk you initially start out playing with Orcs, with Elves and with Dwarves. I have covered Dwarves before. What jolly fun fellows they are, just cheering and drinking beer all the time and growing into huge size. You can find some of the early Arcane Rush videos I have done on this channel where the Dwarves really grow up. And then there's Orcs. Orcs have also been pretty fun now with Thunk. Orcs just gaining attack, gaining rage, so when they have rage they cannot be killed when they're attacking, and then multi-striking and overwhelming, so they hit multiple targets and they cleave, and it's just pretty crazy all-in kind of stuff. So kill or be killed, you don't have a lot of health, but you really can hit. And elves are based around combos, so you play other cards that are of the similar tier or higher, and that way you activate their effects, and then you can have these cascading effects where one combo activates and another combo activates, and it's pretty interesting. You buy stuff from the tavern, you really try to get high tier cards so that you will be able to activate your combos properly, and then just keep playing them and selling them and playing them and selling them. And yeah, I've had a great time playing with both of these factions with Thunk, and I also have some nice gameplay footage to show you both of the Orc aggression and of the Elf comboing. So Arcane Rush, new season, this is what it looks like in action. Alright, here we go. Let's go in with Thunk, and this is a game where I managed to get some Orc things going. I played some games trying to just find the exact right things to showcase. So in this one we're going to go for some Orcs. We don't get some Orcs immediately. I want to open with that barrier elf, because barrier means that the first hit is going to be absorbed, which means that if the opponent happens to have a 2 health minion to start with, then I can actually win the first round, and I do win the first round, and that's awesome, because there's those few rounds that you need to get within the top 4, and then you get into a new group that takes your top 4 and another top 4 and forms a new group of 8. So it's really important to win some of the early rounds. It's even more important in this game than in most others, so the game is kind of like there's this duality to it, because you kind of have to win some of the early rounds. If you don't win the early rounds, well, then you don't get anywhere. You don't have time to like start scaling and ramping up and building for that ramp and losing a lot early on and then ramping up. You somehow have to find the balance where you will both be able to get enough wins and still upgrade your tavern, so that your tavern will be good enough, so that then you will have also that end game power. And finding that balance is really it's what this game is all about. You need to find that balance, and it's sometimes really hard to find. You can push too hard early and then you will flop in the final group, or you don't push hard enough and you have like great setup and you would be able to do so many things just a little bit later, but you never get to do those things because you fail to get the first top 4. But here I find wonderful Orc. This Orc is going to become the cornerstone of my army. It doesn't know it yet, but that's what it's going to be. They do have a pretty good one too, because that kickstart effect, that's wonderful. But the barrier elf doing so much work there, just getting another victory, because it cannot be killed with a single hit. Always takes 2 hits. But now I have a wonderful Orc here that can get some damage going when it attacks. I don't really like the Proud Sword too much, reduce my damage by 1 permanently, so instead of scaling up, it's scaling down, and that's not one of my favorite things. Then there's these elves on over here, but they are not particularly strong elves. So I'm also not super convinced about them. And that's what I'm trying to think here. Okay, well, like, I don't want to pick up either of these elves, but I also don't like the orc too much. However, the orc does have some immediate stats, and that is why I end up deciding, okay, I am going to go with the orc, and then one of the elves. I didn't want to take the elf that guarantees an elf for the next refresh, because I'm not interested in getting more elves. I'm just interested in trying to get through here. That's wonderful work from my main orc, but it's still not quite enough. And now that's a tough position to be in. 1 round left. I'm at 6 points. I'm fighting against one with 7, so it's win and end. If I win, I will get a top 4. If I draw or lose, I am out. Makeshifted transform something, so I could transform something that has pretty low stats for its tier, and then hope that it becomes a little bit bigger, and maybe that will solve everything. Here's another one of these overwhelming marksmen. These overwhelming marksmen, I'm really trying to build around them. I'm going to give those stats to the tier 2 elf, so it's going to become a tier 3. And that hopefully will help me a little bit, because I didn't really want to... probably would have lost stats otherwise. Now I needed some tempo here, I needed some more stats here. I have to win this fight. And it's looking rough, but okay. So barely. Could not have been any closer. I barely made it in, but I made it in. We're in the final group of 8. All right, let's go. Let's see if we can build something around here. I still have a tier 2 shop. I would need to get a tier 3 shop. And now, last turn I couldn't upgrade to a tier 3 shop because I needed tempo. I just didn't have enough power. Now I can sacrifice a little bit of tempo, although the relic is going to help me a little bit with that. And I get a triple of the marksman. And that is really good news. And I also get a tier 4 discover. And tier 4 discover. Okay. Double trouble, plague given ally plus 4 damage and multi-strike. Okay. So now I can make my overwhelming marksman also have multi-strike. That is looking pretty sweet. Night Whisper keeps going back to the hand. Yeah, that just doesn't help me that much because I'm not into elves right now. But if I was into elves, all of these effects that return stuff to your hand, especially higher tier stuff to your hand, then that helps you because then you can just play them again and they can proc more combos, and it's beautiful stuff. But here I now have multi-striking, overwhelming marksman. But it doesn't have a lot of health. So now when it got the first hit in, okay, that was fine. It got the it got the overwhelm, but it also died. So yeah, survivability is a little bit low. I would need to find some way to make it more survivable, and with orcs that typically means rage. Rage prevents it from dying when it's attacking. Obviously it can still be attacked into and then it can die through that, but there is a chance. Yeah, deed of sale would require me to sell a bunch of stuff. That's not super easy. I'm at 2 health. So I can take 1 more loss. So now is time to try to think, okay, what can I do to improve my odds? So I don't have to put all in right now, but if I do this turn, if this is some kind of turn that prepares me for the future, then that means that I will have to be ready for next turn. Alright, I upgraded my tavern. I now have a tier 4 tavern, and I'm trying to see if I can find something interesting that I would then maybe be able to freeze here, so then I would be able to use them next turn. I didn't, but I still have that big tavern, and I also get a little bit lucky here, because the opponent is a weak one. I get the win, which means that I still have 2 health, so I can still take 1 loss. So that was really, really important. Now I'm facing the top competitor right now. But let's see. Give an ally of each race and a different neutral unit. Okay, so I could get some buffs with the Warhorse. So let's see if I can do something like that. So what I want to buff. Do I want to buff Night Whisperer? Not really, not particularly. What I would really want to buff would be the Marksman. So, actually I probably should sell everything but the Marksman and the Barrier Elf, the Stag. Because then that would give me the best chance. Now there's a chance that this buff ends up on the other one. I rolled a 50-50 on the Orcs. That was probably not a good idea. I think I should have just sold the other Orc as well. Ensure the buff on the Marksman. Because now I'm really going for those buffs. Should have also bought that one before playing the Warhorse. Then I could have played the Warhorse, gotten the buff on that one as well, and then it would give the stats to something else when it's sold. Because now I also, when I was selling things, I had that relic that gave me a thing when I sell it. So when I sell enough minions, so oh, that's not Glade Restorers are not particularly good. So I still need to find something. This doesn't look pretty good to me, but this starts to look really good. Attack trigger and ally slay ability. I don't have anyone with slay ability, so that's kind of useless, but Red Fan Rager. Kickstart, give the Orc ally to my left rage. So that happens at the start of a turn. So now all I need to do is get that one on the right side of my big Marksman. Marksman already has multi-strike. Marksman already has overwhelm. Only thing it needs is that rage, so that it cannot be killed when it attacks, so it actually gets to attack twice. And then it survives those, and then after it has attacked twice, then it's still going to defend as well. So it can kill 3 or more enemies, just that one Marksman. And enemy Marksman is coming, and whew, I was a little bit afraid that there would be an overwhelm effect, but hey, look at that. My Marksman got in, did the job. I managed to take the win out of that one. Alright, so that rage effect single-handedly saved this lobby for me. Because otherwise I was just gone. Give your Orcs +1/+1 permanently. I do like that. It's a little bit late. I mean, obviously I would have wanted that much earlier.
Thunk has seen better.
But
Thunk also has seen less.
But it's still something. I mean, what else can I find? I'm most looking into Orcs right now, or any way that I have to make my marks more effective. Deadly Choke, death, destroy whoever killed me. Yes, that is also pretty effective, because I can also get lucky. Someone might have a huge unit and then it kills that and it gets destroyed, and I can just sneak a win with that. It's completely possible. Rage Fire Shaman. Attack, give a different Orc ally rage, and that one has rage too. So rage, not dying when you're attacking, that is good. I like that. Now I just have some decisions to make. Selling some of the less needed stuff. That one triples with an elf. Triple. Hilarious. But I mean, I could have tried to find the elves, so that then triple with those elves and try to get something from the discover that I get, even though that triple elf wouldn't do anything for me. That was an option. Maybe that's something I should have done there. Let's trigger an ally slay effect again, and I don't have any slay effects. So yeah, I kind of want that. I probably should have done the Warhorse. I couldn't afford the Warhorse anyway, so no. But a joke. Getting some buffs on the Orcs. Getting some rage on the allies. Alright. So this doesn't look too bad at all. Obviously stats are still on the low side. But attack is growing. Attack is definitely growing. And with the attack, with the rage, with the overwhelm, it's just it's the holy trinity of Orcs. Multi-strike, overwhelm, rage. I want some rage too. Would be nice with some multi-strike and stuff. I don't think I have space for it in my board though. I'm picking it up here anyway, but I just don't think it's going to be very useful. We go up a tier again. Look for a way to find even more effective units. These are kind of mediocre right now, but even though the stats seem a little bit on the low side, it's actually that combination of attacking and multi-striking and overwhelming and raging that is so powerful. So here we go again. Just look at all those attacks and those multi-strikes and the rage keeping it alive, winning me the round. Okay, that was beautiful. And then I still need to just find more stats, because very often I would have quite a bit more stats at this point. But you make do with what you get, so sometimes lower stats are enough when they're just in the right places. And I'm trying to find, and there I see an interesting orc. The White Fang Pack Leader. End of turn, allies gain +6 damage. Now we're starting to talk. Because now we have some power. Oh, we also have another multi-strike coming. That is interesting. And I just have to decide who should I give up. Like, is the shaman? It should be the shaman. I mean, the stag is an elf. But not sure I made the right move selling that one. Although the ones with rage is a powerful asset. So now I have another one with multi-strike and rage, but no overwhelm there, so the damage doesn't spread into other enemies that are available. Okay, there would be a pair of some really sweet dwarves being offered here. So typically I would be all over those dwarves. Dwarves are so wonderful. But here I really wanted to see what can I make that marksman do? Because it keeps gaining that attack. Like, the opponent has a lot more stats as such. But I have that one big marksman that refuses to die and just destroys. And it just carries me. Doesn't even have any health. The only thing it has is some attack. And here we go again. So another one. Okay, so I can give rage to another orc. I could just find somebody that I like. Trying to find something, trying to refresh. Replace the shop with new units. Can't seem to find things that I like. So, the Orc ally. I already have another Orc with the rage, so it doesn't actually even do so much. But that +6 attack, now that is the scaling that I needed from the very beginning. And as you can see, this one multi-striking minion is just it's doing everything for me. All right, so far so good. We're still alive. No one has any health, like 9 health, but they have rage. Multiple ones have rage. As long as I can keep attacking, then I will be fine. Attack abilities trigger twice. That wouldn't be bad either, because it would give the marksman even more attack. So definitely could be something to consider. It's gaining +6 damage anyway every time it attacks, so that could be triggered twice. Could have been something. But let's see. That is the jackpot. That's the one that I really wanted. Another White Fang Pack Leader. Buff up everything. Just who do I give up? I guess it is because I thought I needed the joke. I didn't have the stats that would be needed to kill something really huge, but it doesn't look like it's necessary in this particular lobby. So we should be fine. Just gaining some attack. Alright then, look at it. It's gaining attack. And it's gaining attack. And then it attacks and it multi-strikes. And once again, the opponents have a lot more stats than I do. But I have multi-strike, overwhelm and rage. And that rage sustains me. But of course this is a very unstable configuration because all it takes is one attack. So that I'm not attacking, but the opponent gets the attack in at the wrong place and I lose my big damage dealer and then it's bye-bye. So not the steadiest possible combination. That would have been really... So I should have taken that one. I should have replaced 3110 with that. Because 3110 scales so slowly. Yeah, that's what I should have really done. That would have given me even more attack. But my attack scales faster than their defense. And I got lucky again. So the overwhelm didn't kill my main damage dealer, and as long as my main damage dealer is fine, then I'm fine, and that's a victory for the Orcs. And here we go with some elf gameplay. So elves are based around this combo mechanic. It's tremendously fun mechanic. Combo, give units in your current shop +1/+1. And combo works so that you have to deploy another unit that's of the same tier or higher in order to activate the combo effect. So there are quite a few combo effects in the Elvish army, and we're going to try to build some really fun things in this one with elves. Alright, second turn. I got a win from the first round. That means that I'm in a great position, so I can pretty comfortably... I could pretty comfortably now just upgrade my shop, go higher. I'm thinking whether I could be able to use the combo mechanic, but obviously I wouldn't. I would need to buy one from the shop, and then I'd need to deploy it, and then the others in the shop would gain the bonus. But that's just... I just can't get it all done with the amount of code I had available. So here we go. Let's go and fight. But I face a 3-3 with barrier too, so taking quite a beating on the second round. But as you can see, I'm one of the few that have now the tier 2 tavern, tier 2 shop. So that's going to enable stronger things that I can buy from here on. And now 5 coins means that I can buy 2 if I sell 1. Turn different unit on the board to your hand. Well, that's not very useful. Transform unit into a higher tier. Alright, so I can transform now my existing elf into a higher tier elf, and it also becomes the same elf that's available in my shop, so I sell that, and now I have a pair of Glade Restorers.
Hello.
So that's wonderful. Now having a pair of Glade Restorers means that I'm getting closer to a potential triple and getting those discovers from the golden ones. I thought a 5-5 and a 3-3 was pretty good at this point, and whew, it is just barely enough. Okay. So now I'm in quite a good position. I have 6 points after 3 rounds, 2 rounds left. 6 points means that at most I need to win 1. I might not even have to win any. So, looking really sweet. So now considering what are my options, because at 6 coins I could just buy 2, but I didn't have very good offers available. So I opt to go for a little bit of a stat boost and just keep my board at these two fighters. So, oof. Okay, that didn't go too well. 1 round left, so this round decides it all. And with a draw, I'm guaranteed to be in. I even have a small chance to get to the last rounds, even if I lose. But draw or win is what I have to be looking for now. So now that guarantees an elf from the refresh. And the elf is a Moonlit Bowmaiden. Combo give me +2/+1 and flying ranged or barrier until next turn. So Bowmaiden is pretty interesting, but I won't be able to combo it this turn because I'm going to spend everything here just to grab it. And no combos on it. Not that good of set of stats, but maybe it's still going to be enough. I would have to find some tier 3 units also to combo with that, because it's tier 3 unit itself. There would be a tier 3 unit, a curious mechanic. So with a tier 3 shop, it's not that likely that I find tier 3 units all the time. So I freeze that. I trust that I will make it to the next rounds. These orcs are giving me a beating. Ouch. Okay. So there is still a chance. As long as the number 4 loses, and they did, and okay, I made it through. Also, I have the highest tier shop here. The only one with a tier 3 shop. I was being very greedy. Sometimes when you're being that greedy, you get punished, and then you just miss out on the final rounds. Haha, that's the nature of the game. You want to be as greedy as you can, but not so greedy that you don't make it to the top 4. All right, that was fun. Fun effect. It's random what it targets, and this was the only good target. But hey, sometimes it happens. Let's do it again. Nah, not this time. Not this time. But it's okay. Let's do this. So this time we have some buffs on the maiden. Can I find something more useful here? No, the guaranteed elf was that barrier elf, but it's a 2 when it's not that strong. A little bit undecisive here. And what should I do? Probably should try to okay. Now we found the lightning witch. When different ally gains stats in combat, give me +1/+1 permanently, and sell, give my stats to another one. So that is beautiful, and it also activates the combo of the bow maiden. So now I have a pretty sweet bow maiden right here, ready to go. Let's see how this works. All right. And bow maiden, do your magic, please. Their ranged attack, beautiful. Barrier, eliminating a hit, beautiful. Ranged attack, beautiful. Look at that, the bow maiden just soloed that fight. Okay, that's wonderful. So that's good. The thing is, though, we need to keep comboing the bow maiden. As you can see, bow maiden's stats have returned back to normal after the combat, because they are only until next turn. The keywords are beautiful, the stats are beautiful, but they are not permanent. However, what I see right now is 2 warhorses. And warhorses are beautiful. They buff an ally from a race and a neutral, and the neutral that I have is the witch that's going to give its stats away when I sell it, so that's just going to be so awesome. Alright, let's do a couple of tier 3 combos here. Okay, bow maiden's getting some stats. It doesn't have a barrier yet. I think it would really need to get a barrier. Soul Seeker Cell, get a different elf. That is attractive, even though that doesn't activate a combo. It's a tier 2 unit, and I need a tier 3 to activate my only combo here. But I get another bow maiden. So now we have 2 bow maidens, and that's beautiful. So I just need to get rid of something in order to play a curious mechanic to activate some more combos. Yep, here we bring the mechanic and activate the... that was a poor target, because now it did not gain a buff. I really wanted to give the bow maiden buffs, of course, but on the other hand, the main bow maiden is 1914 for the next round. So that's pretty big at this stage of the game. So
A card with fire is always good.
this is quite nice.
Fire means power.
Alright, there will be a 1 tier 3 unit over there. And it has attack, give allies +5 damage permanently. And it's allies, so even though it's an orc, it can still also buff my elves. Don't have to build just on a single race, so I'm going for the orc. Now I just need to get that orc to attack as quickly as possible. That would be important.
Follow the rules, Thunk.
There, now the orc gets to attack first out of my units, and then give those buffs. Okay, there we go, we get some buffs. Alright. The fight is on. poor bow maiden did not have ranged, but the other bow maiden does. Well, it was a draw. But a draw is fine. That's perfectly okay. Still in a good spot here. The recruitment phase. Well, there is a tier 3 unit there. It's not particularly useful for me as such. Maybe I could double attack for double buffs. There's something you could argue for that. But I opt to go for a tavern upgrade. Because when I upgrade my tavern here, that means that I have a better chance to find future units that enable me to combo. Because now tier 3 and tier 4 units are both available for me to combo. And let's go. And what I find is a Life Whisperer. Don't kickstart, give the ally to my left revive. That revive sadly is not that great with the Bow Maiden, as we're about to find out. Because the Bow Maiden does not keep its bonus stats through the revive. So for revive you want something that has an on-death effect. That then you can then revive and then you get the on-death effect twice. That's what you really want to go for. But this is what we've got so far. Going into combat, meeting some orcs. Ranged attacks, those are beautiful. And some barriers. Life looking pretty good. Now coming back as a... yeah, that one hurt a bit. But I had just enough stats on the board to survive through that. So that is great. Alright, we're still in this race. And what can we find next? Tier 4 shop.
That was a good smash.
Nothing there. A tier 4 orc, but it only has orc. Orc synergies, attack give a different orc ally range. That's not very useful because I don't have orcs, but I mean it does activate the combo effects of my bow maidens. So there's that. I'd prefer to find elves, of course, but when I don't have elves, then I will gladly take others as long as they are of high enough tier, so they get the combos going. But now I spy a High Queen Lysandra. Death. Give +5 damage to an ally elf for every combo triggered this turn. It attacks immediately. Yeah. High Queen Lysandra. So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, I currently have some elves still that don't benefit from it too much, but if I can get that on the Bow Maiden, it can really do some things. So that is an on-death effect. So that is exactly the kind of effect I want to have on a minion that is going to get revived. I don't want the stat buff effects on those. That's not helping. But now if I do it like... yeah, not like this. I want to revive the High Queen. Yes, this is much better. Now this is how I like to do it. And here we go. Now we get the High Queen revival, so we get a couple of good effects going, I hope. There, got the immediate attack. And there. Wow, that ranged attack. That's beautiful. That ranged attack again. Especially against all of these orcs who have like high attack, low health. You can just do a ranged attack, take them out. It's wonderful. And there is a Bow Maiden triple. Alright. Golden Bow Maiden coming right up. Let's do this. Get some stats on that. And we also get an Elindra Starpiercer. Start turn, return me to hand. End turn, gain +2/+2 for each elf you played this turn. Wonderful combo enabler. Because I don't have to keep a free spot. After every fight, the elf is going to return back to my hand. There's going to be space to play new stuff, and then I can just play it there at the end. That's beautiful. And oh my goodness. Now I got like a really, really sweet combination of tier 5 elves. Which can go. I'm a little bit sad that it gave gave the buff to the neutral card. But be that as it may, let's activate some more combos. Yeah, give your units +4/+2, ongoing, improve this when a different combo is triggered. Obviously, that is a tier 5 unit, so it requires a tier 5 unit to combo with. However, I now have a tier 5 unit that's going to return back to my hand every turn, so I will always be able to activate that combo. Once anyway, but still, it's not bad. Okay, that's again an Orc synergy card. Yeah, not going to use Orc synergies. Going to use Elf synergies instead. And here we go. Alright, now that is starting to look like a pretty good setup. Oh, the Arcane Syndicate would be so sweet. Yeah, freezing those. We're going to grab some more elves next turn. Alright, and here we go. Activating these ranged attacks, that's oof. That is sweet. Alright. And now in the shop we have an Arcane Syndicate, and that's not all we have in the shop, because we also have Mystic Light Dancers. Ongoing, when you trigger a combo ability, trigger another combo ability. So now I can trigger the tier 3 combo of the Bow Maiden, which is then going to trigger the combo that buffs the elves.
Thunk smells quality.
So that's synergy. Which is kind of nice. That would be an option. Do I still need Lysandra? Do I still need the death effect? Let's see. Do I still need the Life Whisperer? Has Lysandra reviving really done that much for me? Whereas I could also have just like more elves going on. Yep, there we go. Getting some of those buffs going. Alright, good so far. Death, get an elf. Now that could supply me with some more elves, although I'm not really sure I want that or need that. Either way. That Bow Maiden is looking so scary. Barrier, lying, ranged. Like, it shoots and it doesn't take any damage in return, and even if somebody does decide to attack it, then there's the barrier. You still need 2 hits to kill it. It's going to just wipe boards all by itself.
Victory.
And that the elf returning to hand is so sweet as well. Here we go, combo. And then we need something of a bit higher tier. 1s and 2s won't make it, but 3s will. And now I don't have enough gold to do it again. Yeah, not quite enough gold. I won't need another Bow Maiden anyway, so I think I'm fine with this, but yeah, wonderful. Oh, this is okay. Let's go and fight. Pow pow. Go. It's just wonderful. These stats are still not quite what I had with Nord, or what I have had with Dwarves sometimes, but I do enjoy a bit of a different playstyle with the elves. And it's a pretty fun one. It also makes you pay a lot more attention to the tavern tiers, the units that you're buying and playing, which you usually wouldn't really care about that much. I mean, of course you care about having access to higher tier units, because then those higher tier units can potentially be stronger. But you don't really think about tier as such an important characteristic otherwise. But here, just using that tier to activate the combos. Unspent coins, well, doesn't really matter. That coin is not going to do anything anyway. Alright, another round of combat, and the Bow Maiden. It's way too much for these orcs. Poor orcs, they never knew what hit them. Wow. Alright, couple of fights left against David. And again, we get the space on the board. And then we can just play units that are at least tier 3 into that space. Oh, Warhorse also giving some other buffs, and probably should have went for a Golden Arcana Syndicate. Or tried to go for one anyway. I think that would have made a lot of sense. But yeah, I would have been able to find one. Obviously, I wouldn't know that I could, but should have grabbed the duplicate into my hand and then just kept it there, waiting for the triple. Because I already had enough combo pieces coming in a single turn, but hey, the Maiden, Bow Maiden is just doing phenomenal work. Alright, one more time, with the feel. Return back to hand, open up space, play some stuff that enables combos into that space, sell them away, play more stuff that enables combos into this space, sell them away, play stuff that enables combos into this space, yeah, you know the drill. And one more refresh and one more tier 3 unit right there. And that's really it. So Lysandra isn't very essential here. So Eloria, give your units these buffs. Give your elves buffs. Then Mystic Light Dance are really important, so that I can activate some of those lower combos, like the Bow Maiden's combo, and then that will enable the higher tier stat buff combos as well. And here we go. And boom. So that was Elves. So that was some Arcane Rush gameplay. I really have had a blast with the new season. Playing with Orcs, playing with Elves, even some with my old favorite Dwarves, even though they didn't get featured in this video. If you want to try out the game, use the QR code on the screen. Use the link down below in the description. The game is free to play, available on Steam, Android, iOS, and just a really fun and cozy auto battler to play. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.